Hi, this is David Cole, and I'd like to thank you for investing your time today with me in this webinar. I promise it will be a valuable investment. So we're going to go ahead here and get started. It looks like the room is filling up. Awesome. What we're going to talk about today is the number one secret to becoming financially independent that most people completely ignore. And if you get this right, you can add thousands of dollars to your bottom line. So have you found that you spend a lot of time and money to build your small business only to find out that income taxes are going to devour a huge chunk of your hard-earned money? The fact is, income taxes are your single largest living expense, more than housing, clothing, and food combined for most people. But the good news is, it is an expense that you can do something about. Otherwise, unmanaged income taxes will rob you of your financial independence. No matter how much money you make, you'll be taking the IRS along for the ride. So the more you make, the more the IRS will take. And that's really important because you see, every penny or dollar that you overpay the IRS, you just don't lose it today. You lose the future benefit of that dollar. Here's what I mean. You can't use that dollar to pay off your debt. You can't use it to invest to create more dollars. You can't contribute it into a retirement plan and invest it there. If you pay way too many dollars, you might not be able to buy a nicer house, a car, or vacation for your family. I mean, if you give it away to the IRS, you don't even have it to help other people with it. And right now, there's a lot of folks in Texas, Florida, Puerto Rico, and those islands that desperately need our help. Now, strategic tax planning is one of the first things you should do before you spend a lot of time and money pursuing your business goals. But most people get it backwards. They chase the business first and then come back to try and get their taxes under control. You see, proactive tax planning captures startup expenses and deductions, which reduce your taxes now, even before you start making a profit in your home-based business. Now, as a business owner, it's your responsibility to determine how much in taxes you feel represents your fair share. There's nothing wrong with paying taxes. You just don't want to overpay. So strategic, let's try that again. Strategic tax planning rewards you with paying less in taxes as long as, one, you follow the law, and two, you keep good records to support your deductions. So today I'm going to be introducing you to a program that will take the dreaded chore of trying to figure out what the heck to do about your income taxes, and instead will put you comfortably back in control and enjoying peace of mind knowing that you're paying the minimum amount of taxes as required by law. I mean, doesn't that sound good to you? Well, if it does, you're in the right place at the right time. But because we're talking about taxes and so forth, I do have to put out this disclaimer. So we'll do a little bit of house cleaning here. The information contained in this webinar is not meant to be construed as tax or legal advice. This information is being provided in an educational format only and is not to be acted on before you consult with a tax or legal professional regarding your unique personal situation. All right, got that out of the way. Now, strategic tax planning is not difficult. And investing a little time and money now can help you shrink your tax bill by tens of thousands, maybe even hundreds of thousands of dollars in the years ahead. But you know, on the other hand, excuses can cost you that tens of thousands in unnecessary tax dollars. So when I talk to people about this issue, this is a part of being in business, this is a part of your responsibility, I hear excuses. Taxes are too boring, they're too complicated, I could never understand it, I'm way too busy, I don't have the time to deal with taxes, my home-based business isn't making enough money to worry about taxes. Boy, that's a mistake. Or how about this? My tax person takes care of my taxes. You know, the fact is that your tax person doesn't take care of your taxes any more than your dentist takes care of your teeth. Your dentist doesn't come over and brush your teeth for you and floss them, pour a little mouthwash in and say gargle, right? No. You do the damage to your own teeth, you go to the dentist to fix the damage. Same thing with tax people. Most tax people are reactive. You bring in their records, they crunch the numbers, and they tell you what they owe. They are not proactive. They are not on your team trying to save you money. And that's a mistake a lot of people assume, that they're trying to save your money. They're not. They're merely providing a tax reporting service. All right? So when people tell me I have a tax person take care of my taxes, I say, okay, so how's that going for you? And here's what I hear. Well, I never hear from them unless it's tax time. Reactive, right? Or my tax person doesn't share any new ideas to help me reduce my taxes. That's because they're only reactive. They're not proactive. Or I don't think my tax person really understands all of the real estate tax benefits available to me. And if you're in real estate, and I assume that's probably what your business goal you're involved in, if you're not taking advantage of all the real estate write-offs, deductions, credits, and everything else, you're getting slaughtered on taxes, because real estate is a very powerful tax reduction tool. In fact, let me ask you just a couple of more questions. We want to make sure you're in the right place at the right time. So here's 2 questions to ponder. First question is, are you 100% sure that you're paying the least amount in taxes that the law requires? Or this one, are you absolutely confident you're taking advantage of every available tax code break? You know what? If you were saying yes to both those questions, 1, you're on the wrong webinar, or 2, you wouldn't be here at all because you would already have this taken care of. So by your being present on this webinar, that tells me that you're not sure, and that you know there's some tax savings you're missing. It could be huge, and you want to keep that in your pocket. And that's congratulations. You're taking the first step towards doing that. So a lot of people, when I talk to them about the services that we have, this package we put together, they say, it sounds great. Okay, Dave, what can I do to start shrinking my tax bill? What steps do I need to get involved? Proactive or strategic tax planning is not a burden to do. We're not trying to make you a tax expert. We're just saying, listen, you need to know what your options are so that you can make informed choices and have a productive discussion with your tax advisor. That's what this is all about. Now, you would assume, as many people do, that most tax professionals would be able to help you out with what you need, but they cannot. Tax professionals who are experts in tax strategies for home-based business owners and who are real estate tax code savvy are really hard to find. I know. I've been in this industry 20 years. They've been hard for me to find. We've solved this issue, by the way, in this program. You're going to be thrilled with that. But you need this expert on your team to help you make the right decisions. So again, I understand your frustration. This is difficult for most people to figure out how to fix this income tax problem. And I want to assure you that the program I'm about to reveal to you has been designed to make it easy for you to get your taxes under control and know for a fact that you're paying the least amount of taxes as required by law. Does that sound good to you? Well, then you're in the right place at the right time. So here is our step-by-step program that will help you shrink your taxes like an ice cube in July. And we put a name on it, and we call it the Tax Shield System. It is a laser-targeted program for home-based business owners and real estate investors to help you know that you're paying the minimum amount of taxes which is required by law. You become a member of the Tax Shield system, and it has member benefits. So what I want to do right now is I want to go through, just briefly, those member benefits. So here is member benefit number 1. This is the most important relationship, the relationship you haven't found, and that is that we're going to partner you up with one of our home-based business real estate expert CPAs. This is the person on the team with you that you've been looking for. Now, this is also the CPA firm you've been searching for. In fact, it took me a long time to find these folks. They've been established for 14 years. Their expertise is business startups and real estate investing. They've done over 120,000 tax returns in all 50 states, and they have had 0 face-to-face IRS audits. That means their work is very precise and done correctly. These aren't newbies either, because their CPAs have a minimum average 10.5 years of experience or more. And in talking to the president of the CPA firm, they want to stay relevant and state of the art in their knowledge. So all the CPAs regularly update their tax education so they stay current with tax law changes. Tax law is fluid. It changes regularly. Right now, we're looking at some major tax legislation that may be punched through by the end of the year. So they'll be staying on top of all those and how those can save you money. Now, you have to also understand that it does take time for the CPAs to onboard people and get all the records and do everything they do. So they've told me they're only accepting 25 new members at this time. And then when they'll accept 25 more, they'll let me know. We are moving into tax season, so they don't want to be overwhelmed, again, with too many clients. All right, let's move on to the second benefit, and this is huge. This is really, really important. It's 3 p.m. on a Friday, and you've got a tax question that's driving you nuts. It's going to keep you awake all weekend. So again, who are you going to call to get an answer? Well, this CPA firm staffs a tax hotline Monday through Friday, 9 to 5. Your CPA could be busy. They could be on vacation. They could have the flu. And you have a question that needs to be answered. So you call up. They'll see that you're a client of the firm, and a CPA that's staffing the answer line, the tax hotline, will answer your question for you. And that way, you can go ahead and get a good night's sleep, right? This is huge to have this kind of access to address or answer questions for you that pop up out of the blue. It's really wonderful to have. All right. Here is member benefit number 3. And that is that you have to have at least an idea of what you're talking about. What they're saying, and I'm going to butcher this, you don't know what you don't know. I guess that's what it is. And what it means is, if you don't know what your options and choices are, how do you have a discussion with your CPA? So when you become a member, we're going to have a very simple online little report for you to fill out, a little questionnaire. We get that back. We're going to take that information, and we're going to research 110 tax saving strategies. Now, you're certainly not going to qualify for all 110, but we're going to pinpoint out of that list the best options for you to consider. We're going to have a page or 2 pages of information on each of those, which, by the way, is not boring. It's all in plain English. It's easy to read. We are not trying to make you a tax expert. We're just trying to help you understand your options so that when you have a talk with your CPA, you can say, I thought this was a good idea. What do you think of this? And then together you decide what is the best course of action for you, because you're unique. Your tax fingerprint is unique to you. So again, this is a great report. You're really going to enjoy that. By the way, we put references, tax code references, even court cases in the margin of this. So if it's something your CPA needs to look up, they've got that reference material there. Excellent. All right, let's move on to member benefit number 4. And that is, remember earlier I said that the tax law does change. It's fluid. It changes all the time. So we have what we call our Member Research Center, and it's organized into specific modules. This is online. And then these modules address your most common challenges as a home-based business owner. And this resource will equip you to stay on top of many of the latest developments that can have a positive impact towards shrinking your bill. In fact, module number 2 is one of the most popular. It deals with healthcare costs, insurance, ways to take many of the things that you're paying for out of pocket now for health costs and make them a legitimate legal tax deduction to your business. How great would that be? So this, again, is an area for you to go do some more research and talking with your CPA in order to decide what's best for you and your family. Member benefit number 5. And this is something that you're going to relate to. I sure do. And that's the fact that staying on top of your tax records is a major pain in the bleep, right? I mean, you have to do this. You have to have your records, because if the IRS ever wants to look at those records, you have to provide them By the way, through your CPA, you never represent yourself in an audit, right? So you need to have an IRS compliant business mileage log. You would have to have have all your expenses tracked and logged. What else? Oh, you would need to have all your receipts filed and all this information put together, because if you do not do this, I call it a mind-numbing chore, and it is, your valuable deductions could be disallowed in an audit. Here's what I hear. I hear so many people say, Dave, I know I should do this. I don't do it. I procrastinate. And the last week before taxes are due, it's like this agony I go through of trying to rebuild records and receipts and file them and put them all together. It shouldn't be that way. It doesn't have to be that way. And the Tax Shield System membership will help you solve that problem. So how are we going to do that? How are we going to take this mind-numbing chore and make it something that's easy for you to do? Well, we're going to use technology, again, to make your record keeping push button simple. Seriously, push button simple. I love this. I can't tell you how excited we are to be able to include this as a member benefit. So by simply tapping an app on your smartphone, you can shave your business record keeping down to an average of only 15 minutes a month. Yeah, some of you might be able to do it even in less time than that. Oh, by the way, this app works on both iPhone as well as Android, so it doesn't matter what type of smartphone that you have. It's also fully IRS compliant. IRS wants their records in a certain format to document certain things, and it's worth it because right now in 2017, your mileage rate is 53.5 cents. I don't think they've released the rates for 18 yet. Probably similar area. So if you drive 1,000 miles, well, that's $535 a deduction. 10,000 miles is over $5,000. So you do not want to let these deductions go. By the way, if you become a member, we're going to talk about charitable or medical mileage deductions also, which are not quite as high, but they're still worth capturing. But you need solid records to be able to capture those. All right, so with this program, this app, you have either automatic or manual trip tracking, and we'll explain that once you become a member. And then once you have done a business trip, let's say for some reason, you met somebody for lunch, let's say, to talk to them about buying their house, you swipe left for personal or right for business and then type in the purpose. It keeps all the information, including a map, date, time, everything the IRS needs, so that you can prove that your business mileage was legitimate. This is fantastic to have this kind of technology. But we don't stop there, because protecting your expense deductions is also very, very critical. So let's say, again, you met John Jones for lunch, you paid for lunch, you're talking about buying his property. At the end, you open the app on the phone, you take a picture of the receipt for the lunch, and you choose personal or business, and the system will automatically match it to the correct bank account, and you simply type in a purpose. Now, what if you're really, really busy and you don't have a time to make a note of what it was today? Well, this reminds you tomorrow and says, hey, listen, yesterday's trip, put in the purpose so that this is recorded. So unless you just refuse to do it, which would be crazy, you can stay on top of your business records, and it's very, very easy using this new technology. All right. So, quickly in review, the member benefits are your own real estate expert CPA you're going to be working with, the 5-day-a-week CPA hotline, the Tax Strategy Online Research Center, so you can go and check for things changing and all that kind of stuff, your personalized tax strategy report showing you what tax strategies and write-offs and other programs apply to you right now, so you can have a good discussion with your CPA. And of course, the smartphone record-keeping app, which is just freaking awesome. I love that. All right, so really, what is this worth? If you went out a la carte to stitch this together, buy it all individually, what would you pay? What's the real world value? And I've talked to a lot of CPAs as we were looking for the right firm to work with and have available for all of our members. And real estate CPAs are hard to find, and they are not inexpensive. They know their service is very valuable. So we were finding that for most CPAs that are experts in this area to do one business and one personal return, plus do consulting with you, of course, about $2,200 a year was the average. We found them a lot more expensive than that, but around $2,200. Then what about the smartphone app? $240, the value of that. The tax hotline, if you just bought a service to have unlimited access to CPAs to ask questions, $500. The strategy updates online education system, $500. And the tax discovery report, at least $300 or more, because it would take a CPA 2 or 3 hours to do that. And typically they're, a couple $100 an hour. So this is not a hyped up, super inflated guru type of pricing. This is what we see out there in the real world, and I see it a lot higher rather than that. It is not unusual to see people spending, $5, $8, $10, $12, $15,000 because they want to get their taxes under control and save that money every year. So really, being a member comes down to, is it a good business decision? So assume that you can reduce your 2017 taxes by $5,000 if you become a member. Now, we can't give you any guarantee of tax savings. Your savings could be less. Your savings could be a lot more. That's unique to you. We're just going to use this as a way to make a business decision. So, is it one and done? Well, of course not. You know that once you do tax planning, as long as nothing material changes, you could save, let's say, $25,000 over 5 years or $50,000 over 10 years. Again, it could be even higher. We've had many people that have had huge tax savings and are very thankful for that level of expertise. All right, so if that's the case, and you could save and keep in your pocket 25 to 50 grand over 5 to 10 years, the next question I would ask you is, how could that change your life? What could you do if you stop voluntarily overpaying the IRS? How about paying off your debts so you could sleep better at night? Perhaps you could invest in a rental property and increase your monthly cash flow. How about helping one of your kids go to college or vocational school? Or maybe this would be better. How about helping one of them or both or however many kids you have buy their first house and become real estate investors themselves? What about sharing that journey with them? Wouldn't that be awesome? Maybe you'd like to have a mortgage-burning party and finally book the cruise of your dream. So really, you have to ask yourself the question, isn't it about time to stop giving away your hard-earned money to the IRS and instead use it to provide the financial security you and your loved ones deserve? I think the answer to that is pretty obvious, isn't it? So let me ask you this other question. You've seen what's now in the package and the member benefits and so forth. So let me ask you what you think is a fair price for everything that's included. I mean, we've already established a real and reasonable value in the real world of $3,740 and probably a lot more than that. If you've been to any of these real estate workshops and they've had anything like this, they're probably asking you for $10,000 or $15,000. So regardless of that, what do you think is fair? What would you pay? How about $24.95? A reasonable cost, worth every penny at $37.40, so obviously $24.95. I've had a lot of people actually tell me, Dave, if you could do this for a couple of grand, I'm all in. That's exactly what I need. That's awesome. Great investment or business decision for me. $2,000 would do it for me. Well, we talked to everybody in the team and the CPA president, everything, and really sharpened the pencil. And here's the good news. We came up with a savings of 60% off of that real world value. That makes everything that we've talked about, your member benefit investment, just $14.97. And remember, that's tax savings year after year after year. And then in talking to people about this and figuring out how we could make it affordable for everybody, one question came up quite a bit. So we decided to create member benefit number 6. And that's what we call our 3-year CPA price lock guarantee. Because the first year, if you become a member, your 2017 taxes are included. And those will be processed for you. But that then makes you wonder, what would my pricing be for 2018? What would it be in 19? What would it be in 2020? We want to take away that fear. We want to lock it in as a member benefit so that you can see that this is a good decision to make, right? So again, we talked CPAs, and they said, well, you're taking away our acquisition costs for new clients. Well, we're making it easy for them to continue to grow their practice. And so they said, we will pass along some very, very good pricing. So this is awesome. This is for the first 25 members of the Tax Shield system. We're going to lock you in to do your taxes each year for those 3 years at only $795 a year. This is literally like almost 1/3 of what a top-notch real estate CPA is going to charge you if you went out and found them locally, if you can find them, right? $795, you don't have to worry about this being expensive and going up in cost for the next 3 years on that. So, everyone here on the team is really excited to help you stop making the IRS your favorite charity. Charity begins at home, right? So we've decided to make the decision again to becoming a member of the Tax Shield system a real no-brainer. We don't want you to waste any brain cells on this whatsoever. So again, with all of these features that we have talked about, including member benefit number 6, the 3-year price lock guarantee, it is not $1,497. It is only $987. And that is for the first 25 new members that we're accepting at this time. So again, that should make it the proverbial no-brainer. Become a member. I'm sure many of you are saying, finally, this is the system that can help me get on track, save the tax money, and use that money to move myself and my family forward in a positive way. So if you'd like to you've made the positive decision to become one of the lucky 25, what do you need to do right now? It's real simple, folks. All you have to do is click the Let Me In Now button that's down at the bottom of this webpage, process and enter your information for us, and we'll see you on the other side. Now, I'm sure that there's quite a few questions that people have, so I'm going to be staying on the webinar for however long it takes here, and I'll be answering your questions, and looking forward to getting you started as soon as possible. Thank you very much. Again, see you on the inside.